is there any hope for Mac Jones? I guess is my question. We're doing a Mac
Hmm.
Jones check-in. Is there anything there?
It's tough because the thing with him, we've kind of talked about this over, the draft and talking about the top guys in the league, but the talent in general across the league is better. It's deeper. So I do think Mac Jones is in general, like obviously he's a good quarterback. He's one of one of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. But I do think even
Well,
like, but yeah, even like 10 years ago, I think Mac Jones is maybe a better player in the league. Maybe even go back like 20 years and I think he's just a better quarterback. Like they're just more better quarterbacks now. So Mac Jones might
hmm.
be a fine player and he might have good games, but week to week he's not consistent enough. And he's still a young guy, so maybe it turns around. But I guess is the offense. Do you like what the Bill O'Brien offense that he's in? Because that would be the only thing going against him, right? Is the system, and that'd be crazy to say for a Belichick team. But is there any sort of case for him at this point?
Well, it's good. I mean, they actually have an offensive coordinator, which is actually a win. I mean, last year, they did not have anyone there, and it was kind of all over the place, which was a yikes. This game was the second fourth quarter comeback victory for Mac Jones. So getting it
Oh,
done in the
clutch.
fourth quarter. Yeah, I know it's clutch guy. It's not the last time he's had it, but there was some talk about it being a real hot seat for Belichick for a second there. With him
Hmm.
going 1-5, there was the NFL Network report talking about if he, that he had signed a contract extension this past offseason, but he didn't talk about it. But
I saw that.
does he? Is it? Is Belichick actually in a hot seat now? I mean, beforehand it was something serious, but like, what record do they have to go for us to be legitimately like Belichick might get fired? Because if this is as many wins as they have all year, I mean, I don't know if I'm Bob Kraft. I don't know if I can really stomach that.
And I mean, like we're talking about, Mac Jones is probably the thing that they would move on first, right? Because the other piece of this year's quarterback class is kind of deep. And we've been having Fatport on the Tuesday show. We've been talking a little bit about the draft prospects, but I mean, just in the first round alone, you've got like Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, Michael Penix. I don't know if Michael Penix on boards and like on mocks and stuff has made his way into the first round, but I think he's definitely. I don't see how Michael
No,
Penix is not a first rounder by the time we get to the draft.
we'll
If
probably get
Shador
there.
Saunders comes out, that's four guys. And then if you get like a McCarthy, Bo Nix, somebody like that stumbles into the back half of the first round, like Patriots could correct the Mac Jones thing this year. Like they could be a quarterback team. Is Drake May maybe? I don't know if they're full. I don't know if they're full on Caleb Williams, but maybe there's like a lower guy. Even Drake May's like a top three pick, so they'd still have to be pretty bad. But
Well, the
that
real
would be
question
that would
is, do
be
you
that would be
want
the re that
Belichick
would be the
steering the ship?
reset. That's the real question. That is the question.
Yeah,
Because Mac
yeah.
Jones, they would move from Mac Jones first. But you're right. The real question is, and this is what we've talked about in the offseason, is Belichick still the guy that can lead the ship in the modern NFL? And the problem that I've had with the Brady Belichick thing, and their success in New England is obviously you can equally attribute it to each other, but the time that they've had separate, like it's not that Belichick just hasn't been successful. It's that the teams have been dysfunctional as well, and there's been no direction, and the moves that they've made have been confusing. And again, he made smart moves when he was with Brady, so it's not like it was all Brady. Like Belichick was doing smart things. So maybe it's just the times, his age. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like his track record recently. Like, what's the last great Belichick move that he's made? I guess it's probably is it Gonzalez in this past draft?
Yeah, and
I
poor
guess
guy's
post
already
Brady.
hurt. Maybe
Yeah.
getting rid of Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't know. I just think that for this team, it's just if I'm Kraft and I'm looking at him from the outside, we had our run, and shout out to him, 6 rings, and shout out to Jabari Smith trying to dunk on Wembanyama. That's kind of crazy.
Wait, are
But
you watching that game right now?
yeah, I'm watching that game right now. It's coming down the
Mm.
wire. Wembanyama double blocked him. Um, yeah, I don't know, but
Rem and Sam's NBA Red Zone coverage will be over on Rem and Sam Plus, just to let you know.
yeah.
You can find it all over there.
Hey, stop playing. Hey, we'll mess
Oh wait, was
around.
I not
Hey,
supposed to
hey,
break the news? Do
Hey,
they not?
look. We got to get the promotions up. We haven't gotten the promos and the
Mm.
subscription service up yet. But the I think if you're from the outside, so if you're Bob Kraft and you're looking at this, you've already got your run in. You've had those 6 years. You've got or 6 rings. You've gotten your championships. You've had your run with Belichick, and now it's time to start fresh. It's it's clear Belichick without Brady. He's been average. He's clearly been average. And, as much as the defense may have helped Brady in those situations, Brady was a big part of it. And for many, he is the GOAT. And, for me right now, I sadly would say he's probably the greatest of all time in terms of accolades and things like that. And so, when he
You
doesn't
gotta just
have
that's just time. You just gotta give your boy time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. That's true. But when he doesn't have the greatest of all time, or a really good quarterback, he's been average. So it's one of those things where you've had all this history with Belichick. You've already had all this beef. You've had the whole thing with the way the Brady thing saga ended, and now you're trying to rebuild, and it's obvious that he cannot. He's not really a great he's not really a great offensive developer, like offensive quarterback developer. When you look at like guys like Andy Reid, I think, may have, I think now with the way the league has turned to be a focus on offensive head coaches and how it's kind of worked. I think coaches who make their bread and butter on the offensive side of the ball may last around longer, because they're forced to innovate more, I think, than the defensive side, where you do still have to keep track of everyone's tendencies and things like that, but you're not forced as much to totally revolutionize stuff. You're looking everywhere. When you look at what the work Reed puts into, he's bringing up plays from the 1960s that he's playing on the field and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can tell, but Reed is in his prime. He hasn't had all these rings. He hasn't had all this time, and I think with Belichick, it's time to hang it up. And I did say the same thing about your boy Popovich, but now he has
Mm.
Wembanyama, so now he'll probably it's probably keeping him around longer. I don't know. He denied that it revitalized him, but we come on, stop playing. But
Yeah, if you're a Patriots fan, that's the key point. That you're
exactly.
gonna. If it's like, well, maybe Belichick doesn't have his Wembenyama yet,
Mm-hmm.
but the piece that Pop had that Belichick hasn't had the last couple of years is the process leading up to it. Like, let's just say that Caleb Williams ends up on the Patriots this year. Like somehow they tank out, end up with the number one pick. Maybe they trade up or something. Maybe the league decides in January to implement a draft lottery all of a sudden, and the Patriots win the draft lottery. They end up with Caleb Williams. Like, path to get the star player would have been a dysfunctional path. And the path that the Spurs had to get Wembenyama, like, they were a struggling team, but you can't say that they were a dysfunctional team. And they still
Yeah.
had young guys and they were developing young guys. And the core that they have around Wembenyama, we like. Keldon
Mm-hmm.
Johnson, Vassell, and I mean, we'll talk about the Spurs later. Sohan, Branham, like they have a ton of young guys, and
Yeah,
Pop
sure.
and the coaching staff and developing them. That's part of it. It's not. I think Sohan is the highest draft pick of those guys. He's like the ninth overall pick, outside of
Yeah.
Wembanyama, obviously.
Clinton
But
Johnson, Team USA.
yeah, 29th pick in the draft, and that he definitely slid. He should have been drafted higher, but still a guy that the Spurs have worked with and developed. And like we're saying, the Patriots haven't really had that. So the big
That's a good point.
question that I agree with you that when you bring up with this extension, like the big question is, maybe you have him there as the coach or whatever, but as a front office guy and as a decision maker guy, like that seems to be the place where, you know, if they were to do something different with Belichick, that would be the thing they would do, right? Is, they wouldn't, I don't think they would fire him altogether, but maybe at some point, like, do they have to turn over the front office to somebody and bring in maybe like an actual general manager who can handle the draft and handle the free agency? Because the really telling thing this offseason was the Jacoby Myers thing, letting him go and him walking says a lot. Like, if because either one, he left because Belichick and the Patriots didn't want to re-sign him and they actually wanted to bring in Juju Smith-Schuster. And Juju Smith-Schuster's a fine player, thousand receiving yards in the Chiefs last year, won the Super Bowl, but Jacoby Myers has been fantastic this year and seems like he's just straight up a better player, costs the same amount of money. So either they misevaluated, which is again not something Belichick would have done, or Jacoby Myers, who played with Josh McDaniels when he was the offensive coordinator on the Patriots, was like, well, if I'm going to make the same amount of money, maybe I would just go rather be in this offense and play in this offense. And now you have players actually exiting the Patriots. So I like, do you think Belichick can continue to make decisions in the front office? And they had a good draft. Again, like we said with Christian Gonzalez too. So there maybe is a glimmer of hope this past offseason. But would you trust him as the decision
Yeah.
maker or the coach? Like, would you want to change that up at all? Do you think he can keep in that role?
Well, I don't
This
know if you
what
can keep him in
by the way, for
either
the
role.
listener, sorry to interrupt, but for the listener, this Spurs Rockets game is down. It's tied up. Wemby just hit a layup. There's 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Whoa,
This is
whoa,
insane.
whoa. Oh,
It's
oh,
riveting.
whoa. I don't know. Rockets got a lot of talent too, so I don't know.
I
I'm a
know we
little
might
bit
have
in
to talk
the
about Van Fleet.
my stream's in the past right now, so just so I wouldn't be.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
forgot. I forgot. I
Jabari
can't
music.
spoil. I can't
You're all
spoil.
good. You're all good.
Look,
But
get
I
there.
think Belichick's had some questionable decisions as a coach as well. I mean, with his son coaching the team last year, he had no offensive coordinator. He's had some questionable decisions when you watch it play, and you can teach as much as you want you know, in terms of being disciplined and things like that. But we've seen them be undisciplined, and if you don't have the players, it doesn't matter how good your coach is; it's just not going to work. So, I mean, what I just with Belichick, I think he's run his course. I'm not even. It's not even as a Chiefs fan, as an outside observer.
As an
It just feels
unbiased
like
guy,
it's just
unpartial.
unbiased. I do think they should at least, they should try have someone new in there, and maybe they keep him around, a defensive coordinator, things like that. I definitely do think they'll probably transition him out of the front office. That should be probably a good idea. It's very, very rarely work where someone can be a GM and a coach. It's just too much. You just don't have time. But I think in terms of trying to transition him out of there, I don't know if he'll. It seems like the organization. I highly doubt that Ian Rappaport just made up that he got a huge contract. I don't think that's false. So it looks like he's probably not going to leave anytime soon. But who knows? Maybe this is all his plan to tanking for Caleb Williams and run it back. I don't know, because he's needed a generational quarterback to be good, which most coaches need anyway.
Hmm.
So it's not a wild thing to need.
Well, as of right now, they would have the sixth pick in the draft. So
Mm,
still outside
Women
of
too much.
Caleb Williams is going number one. And on Tankathon right now, tankathon.com, they have
Shout out.
Drake. They have Drake May at 4 to the Broncos. So 2 picks away from Drake May. Maybe there's a trade up possibility. Broncos with Russell Wilson want to leverage that spot. So maybe that's the guy. Is Drake May to the Patriots? Because to be honest, I haven't. I think I have fits for the other 3 guys of
Okay.
just like where I would like them to go, but I haven't had the Drake May one yet. But Drake May on the Pats, is that what's going to save him?
Mm. I mean, I
Or does
haven't.
Belichick just go with Bailey Zappi? Is he like, well, I guess if we're going to move on from Mac Jones, it's going to be Bailey Zappi.
Hey, look, man. I can't. How many snaps does Zappy?
McCarthy?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna act like a. I haven't been watching much of Drake May with the Tar Heels. Seems like his coach does love him, with like most coaches. But it's always good
The
to hear
NFL
that.
guys love Drake May.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
think
fun.
there's like a secret Drake May love that
Mm,
it seems
fan
like the
club.
NFL from like what you read, it seems like the NFL guys would almost, I don't want to say they'd rather have Drake May over Caleb Williams, but there's just like a unanimous sort of, we believe this guy's going to be really good. I don't, maybe the league doesn't see the upside in Caleb Williams, but they definitely see the Drake May floor is higher. That seems to be,
Hmm. That
that seems
Caleb
to be
Williams
the
for
floor,
real? Oh, the floor. The floor is
maybe like a
higher.
higher floor, but maybe not a higher
Man,
ceiling.
I think Caleb Williams is just out and out the best prospect,
I
and it's
agree.
not even
I'm
close.
still there, even after these last two games.
Yeah.
For the, he had the game against Washington. No, not
Yeah.
Washington. Who was it? I
Oregon?
forget. Notre Dame. He had the three picks against Notre
Okay.
Dame. And then last week against Utah, they came up short. And he's dropped a little bit in the Heisman voting, but
Yeah.
in terms of draft, I'm still there. So if the Patriots could get the number one pick, I mean, that'd be amazing. And I mean, we'll talk about the Cardinals when we do the picks draft, but I don't know, like, well, maybe we'll save it, but I don't know if the number one pick would be like totally safe if the Cardinals even if it's Caleb Williams, like you just never know if these kind of things are available for the right price. So maybe the Patriots do that, but I don't know. Would the Patriots would they be that aggressive, trade
Um,
up for Caleb Williams? I don't know if they would. Belichick definitely takes the Penn State offensive tackle if he's on the board, right?
mhm. They just lock him out of the room. They're like, oh, they give him the wrong time for the draft. He just shows up like
Drake May.
3 hours late. Oh no, Belichick.
Oh, the
He's just,
Patriots keep Belichick away from the draft.
he's like, why is the draft at midnight this year? What's going on?
I need a draft just starting super late.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, no, I don't know if Belichick might be playing the field these days.
Mm,
Now that I think
okay,
about
okay.
it. I'm thinking of documentary Belichick days. Football
Yeah.
Life Belichick. Did you ever watch when they did that Football Life on Belichick during the '09 season? And they just
No,
follow
no,
him
I
around?
didn't.
It's
That
pretty
might be
good.
a
I
good one to go
recommend.
back to. That's
Yeah,
the undefeated year, right?
the '09 was actually, I think they end up losing to the Ravens that year in the playoffs. It was a
Okay.
couple of seasons removed. And I think maybe even I'm trying to remember if Randy Moss was on the team at that point, yeah, because he was still in
Yeah,
the doc.
Randy was on the team, yeah.
Maybe that was his last full season.
Oh yeah, the
I
wild
recommend.
card? Yikes.
Yeah. Was that the
Was
Ravens
that
Super Bowl year
'07
though?
that they went?
Oh
Yeah, I think
seven was
yeah.
the undefeated year.
Yeah, okay. And then '08 they won, I want to say.
Who won in '08? Was that Steelers Cards? Steelers Cardinals?
Oh yeah, that was Steelers. Okay, now it's starting to come back, yeah.
Who beat the Patriots in the playoffs that year? Was it the Steelers? I honestly don't really remember the AFC playoffs from 2008. That was a good Super Bowl though. I do remember that Super Bowl. Steelers Cardinals was a
Yeah, that was a
classic.
close one. That was a great one. Instant classic.
Hardwood classic, gridiron classics. Is there a gridiron
Yeah.
classics? But yeah, I don't really remember what the playoff picture
I
looked
don't
like.
know
But
why it's
I
not
mean,
telling me either.
Patriots are only again at 2 wins right now, so they're in the mix. I forget who they're playing this week, but in the mix for that number one pick. And then
They just need to keep losing.
it's not like that division's going to get any easier. And one of those wins is against the
Yeah.
Jets too. So I can't imagine like in the Jets rematch they're going to get them. I guess they beat the Bills. So the only two wins that they've actually had
Hmm.
are against the division. Belichick, his
Yeah.
old tricks.
That's
He
all
can
he
still
knows
go
what to
into his
do.
bag and beat the divisional opponents when he needs to. But outside of that, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
the
don't.
draft like right now is it's if the Panthers had their pick, it'd be Panthers, Cards, Bears, Broncos, Giants, Patriots. I mean, again, with Belichick, like we're talking about this team just being like the Spurs were nobody really just like they just snuck into the number one pick last year and took
Yeah.
Wembanyama. And they've never really been in that range. And all of a sudden they're there. Nobody really realized it. And the Patriots are now in the mix where you've got the Giants, like the Giants and the Broncos are two of like the most directionalist teams right now. The Broncos stuck in salary cap stuff, trying to sell off parts, and the Patriots, it's like kind of desperate.
Jeez.
And
Yeah.
I've heard people saying that, Brian Ferentz to the Patriots as their offensive line coach.
Are you serious?
I don't think I've heard serious people saying it, but
they
there haven't people
just they
talking
just
about
want
it.
to tank some more. Tank
Yeah, if
even
they
more.
want Caleb Williams, that's the move. Arch Manning
Uh,
to the Patriots. Is that the move?
oh, it's
Cade
they're a
Klubnik.
mess. Okay, Klubnik sounds like a perfect, perfect Patriots guy.
I think he looks like a perfect Patriots guy too. If you looked him up, good Belichick
Exactly.
guy.
It's like the same name too. Like it's not like Anyway, I like the
Cade
name.
Klubnik is kind of a Mac Jonesy kind of guy.
Yeah.
Definitely better. I mean, my draft people are gonna hate that, but
Anyway,
also the Spurs pulling away.
I know. I guess you can get used to it now with Wemby in the mix. He's just patrolling the paint.
Pull me back. I can't wait to talk about the Spurs.
Sengun, number one option right now. All right. So let's go into the picks.